Welcome, everybody, to the DLLS Stars Pregame Show before the final game of this 4-game road trip. They try to put a bow on things tonight against the Seattle Kraken, they being the Dallas Stars. Alongside Sean Shapiro, Craig Ludwig, and Sam Nestler, I'm Owen Newkirk. Our producer, Ryan Vaughters, is not on the screen as he prefers it, even though he is a much better-looking producer than he gives himself credit. So let's talk about this one tonight. But first, let's get to that Black Friday early access sale. For those of you who are DLLS diehards, you do not have to wait until Friday to get huge savings on DLLS and all city merchandise. Up to, as you can see on the screen, as much as 90% off. Everything is at least 30% off, but you have to be a diehard in order to get that access. And as we mentioned on the show last night, a whole bunch of DLLS diehards I've already taken advantage of it. In fact, I was looking at the sheet, and I think Sam probably looked at this. I'm positive Luds has no idea how to even find this on Slack, and Sean probably took the deferral and chose not to. But I think, Sam, it looked like DLLS was second in terms of total pre-Black Friday sales, and DNVR, which it was in the lead as far as most units sold, has been in business for almost a decade. So I think the DLLS diehards are crushing it right now.
We are rolling. Let's get it. Let's keep it going and get maybe even above those DNVR boys.
I love it. So thank you very much for everybody who's taken advantage of that, those diehards out there. If you're not already, you can always sign up to be a diehard and also get those savings, not having to wait till Black Friday. All right, guys. Big news of the day because the Stars are playing the Kraken after an 8-3 demolition of the Edmonton Oilers last night. I don't remember much of it because it was
last night.
It was a haze of a watch along and all the craziness we were dealing with. But guess who's back? The Moose. That's right. Right down there. Time to set the Moose loose. Mikko Rantanen back in the lineup tonight from his suspension. And we were going to have a healthy conversation about this, thinking that maybe the Stars wouldn't reveal it until after the warm-up. But we know that Colin Blackwell will be the healthy scratch, as Nathan Bastian's 2-goal effort against the Oilers last night earned him another game. So I want to go down the row. We'll start with Sean, who, at least on my screen, is all the way on the other side, whichever direction I'm pointing. Do you like the decision to scratch Blackwell? Because obviously Mikko Rantanen is like the easiest coach's decision. Get him back in the lineup.
Yeah, and I don't know why a random sound thing just started over here. I'm at my in-laws' house right now, so I'm going to work on figuring out how to turn off. I think it's some sort of heater vent going off. I'll work on figuring that out. But after Bastian comes in and scores the 2 goals. Also I've picked a spot where Luds would be happy with.
Oh, look at that, Luds! He's by the bar.
Oh yeah,
we're right by the bar. We've got a good selection above my head.
What does it say?
Exactly,
it says
save water, drink beer.
Oh my God! Is that the Craig Ludwig life motto?
Luds would love my in-laws. They would get along great. It's as you can see by this is the living room. So it's but to the Stars tonight and with Nathan. With what Bastian came in, you got to reward that, right? Owen and I were joking on the phone today of I don't know if he's ever going to score 2 goals in back-to-back games, so maybe it's actually the perfect time to pull him. But from a team perspective, a guy that's put in the work and everything like that, and first game in, you got to reward that and keep that going for the team. So he's got to stay in. I was fascinated to see how they were going to handle whether it was going to be Blackwell or Oscar Beck. And Oscar Beck actually would have been the easy decision since he was of the 12 forwards who played last night. He was the only one who did not have a point. So it would have been very easy to go and make that decision to pull him. But I think it came down to these two, and you're looking at, hey, tonight's going to be a game where it's going to be tough. It's the second game of back-to-back. No matter what happened last night, you're going to have to – and I think Beck brings a little bit of what you might want size-wise, a little bit more against Seattle. And so I think that's maybe where it came down on this. So,
Luds, are you happy with this decision by the coaching staff to bring Blackwell out of the lineup? Obviously, Rantanen in is a no-brainer, but who to come out in your mind?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything Sean said. I mean, Bastian obviously deserves to be in the lineup, and I think the 2 guys that Sean mentioned are probably the 2 likely ones that'll come out. Ritzkovian, for me, shouldn't be a guy that's out. I mean, we've seen what he's brought to the team, and I think that's probably what we're looking at right now until a couple other guys come back, because maybe there's a rotation of 2 or 3 of these guys, and those may be the ones that are in and out depending on the line. It's a great problem for Gully to have. I mean, it's and the bigger story obviously is having Mikko back in the lineup. But so
we're gonna have to wait till the warm up to see for sure. But we have a guess on that. But Sam, Bastian getting 2 big goals, right? He doesn't score a whole lot. That was actually his 4th multi-goal game of his NHL career, but it doesn't happen very often. And I know from your perspective, having been in New Jersey and covered the Devils, and you talked to him a fair amount, got to be pretty happy for the guy.
Yeah, and I think I talked about this when they first signed him. He's an underrated skill player, and he's not going to come out and score. As Sean said, he's not going to probably score 2 tonight, but I think he answered a question last night from one of the local media who was kind of saying, how do you feel? Kind of like making a joke out of it, which it is because he's only done it 4 times. And he was saying, look, I'm a 4th line guy. I've sat out for 5 or 6 games here and there, but I'm an NHL player. I believe in my hands. I believe in my skill. I can put the puck in the net if you give me a chance. If you give him a chance to walk straight down the slot, he's probably going to be able to score. So, especially when Stuart Skinner is the goalie. But the other side of it that Lud's just mentioned that I love is this is a good problem, right? We're not thinking Brandon's back in. We know who's coming out. The guy who's been dragging ass and not doing anything for this team. It's who do we take out because everyone is giving us what we want. And I think Beck being the long stick, good on faceoffs helps a little bit. But I think right now it's Glenn Goldson saying Blackwell hasn't sat in a while. Let's take him out. Bastian's going to sit again. I'm sure Beck will sit again. I'm sure Ritzkovian eventually will have a couple games out. He wants to rotate that because he does not want people to sit on the bench or in the press box for a long time. I love that. I think this can only help this team.
So Sam mentioned Nathan Bastian's conversation post-game. We have a couple clips. Here's
Perfect.
Bastian on his goals after last night's win over Edmonton.
For guys like me who maybe don't get as many chances as some of these guys who create a lot, I think when you do get a chance, you got to just do everything you can to put the puck in a good spot. And I don't know when my next 2-on-1 is going to be, so I just wanted to shoot, and turned out.
That was quite the shot, though, picking top corner all the way.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I've had, I obviously believe in my skill set, and even if you sit out a few games, you're an NHL player and you can make plays when you get the chance. So to be able to capitalize on that feels good.
I loved his line where he says, I don't know when my next 2-on-1 will be. That really made me crack up when I was watching that today.
Well, you are on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know, right? All right. Well, speaking of Nathan Bastian, here's Glenn Gulletson about Bastian's game last night.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah.
I thought he played well. I mean, happy for him. He got the one chance there and buried it, and it was an important goal for us too. Got us going and kept us going. And happy for him because he puts in the work. He's a great teammate. He's a great team guy, and I thought he was good.
And then I wanted to share this one with you because Bastian had a very interesting conversation with Mike Heike after the game about depth scoring for guys that aren't in the top 6 for the Stars.
It's, in my opinion, a sign of a good team. I think, you want to see your best buddies contribute. Anytime Ritzy, Bork back, that line's been awesome. Yep. And anytime, myself or whoever's on the 4th line can contribute.
Last game or whatever 2 games ago.
Yeah, I think, we see Robo score enough, and if we can contribute, I think he's equally as happy for us as he is for himself.
How about that, though? That's a sign of a good team, he says, that, anybody can do it. We all know, Luds, we always go to you because of your playing career, but we all know how important it is to not just rely on your best players always carrying the water.
Yeah, but in most of the time, it's going to be those guys. But I can tell you that the majority of the players in the team, with the exception of the guys that are in that little rotation, for guys that play like Bastian does and has the role that he does, and Shane Churla, Billy Heward, Basil McRae, again, Baz and Churls were more regular guys. But, when I play with a guy by the name of Mick Vakota, those are the guys that you're the happiest for, it seems like, when they do get a goal, especially if they get 2 goals, because of what they do and how they stand up for the rest of their teammates. And especially for a guy that just, came to an organization and doesn't know everybody as well as if he'd been here for 4 or 5 years. And we've seen him step in for guys and things like that. So, and I think it's a no-brainer for Gully to keep those, guys in that rotation. And he said this early on in the season is, we're going to rotate guys, but nobody's going to sit for a long time, as Sam said. So, I just think that you do that and you stay with what the coach has set, then everybody's fine with it.
So let's go to Sean on Mikko Rantanen back in the lineup. This is an interesting thing to have, a fresh pair of legs for a back-to-back second game, which is not totally uncommon, but Mikko Rantanen fresh after last night, that's insane.
Well, I think let's add the other part of it too. If I told you could go to the second game of back-to-back and Mikko Rantanen and Miro Heiskanen had played a combined 23 minutes the night before, you would be elated for that. So you've got Mikko Rantanen coming in fresh. You've got Miro coming off playing only 23 minutes, only played 4 or 5 in the third period yesterday. This is one of those moments where I'm really excited to watch Mikko. I'm always excited to watch Mikko Rantanen play hockey. He's one of the most exciting hockey players on planet Earth. But tonight in particular, I'm excited to watch Mikko Rantanen because I think there's a bit of that opportunity for him where the message comes from this team picked him up yesterday, right? This team, he had the suspension. He left 2 of the last 3 games early because of with the hits and everything. And his teammates picked him up. Without him, they went and beat the team that they lost to in the Western Conference Final the last 2 years. I think that this is an opportunity this could be, I really am hoping we see a Mikko Rantanen put the team on his back type night. I'd like to see the entire Stars team dominate this game against Seattle. Obviously that'd be the most fun, but tonight this is one of those opportunities where if you're Mikko Rantanen, hey, I'm the fresh guy coming in. This team picked me up last night. Let me come in, lead the charge. Let me set the tone. Let me set the tone the right way. Not hit a guy in the numbers. set the tone with the puck on my stick. Let's
2-game suspension this time.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the type of thing where it makes me really excited to potentially watch what Mikko Rantanen does tonight in Seattle. I think that could be a fun evening for all of us on our watching it at home.
Well, Sean, I'm glad you brought that up because Glenn Gulletson was asked about Mikko Rantanen's intensity level, and here's what Gully had to say about it.
I'll tell you what impressed me about his game is I didn't realize for a superstar in the league how much he's willing to play on the interior, and not all of them do. Right. Some of them do, not all of them, and he's very physical. And he's a big man, yep. But he has elite talent and vision and a shot. He's a very well-rounded player, and. He's got an intensity to him, and I think, I'm not in Colorado, but maybe that's masked somewhat because McKinnon has a great intensity to him as well, and it got hidden, but you can certainly see it here, and it bodes well for his game. But at the end of the day, you do have to, your strength can become your weakness, so you've got to, make sure you're walking the right line with that intensity.
I love, Luds, the conversation at the beginning of that of not all of them like to get on and play on the interior, but he does.
Well, you've heard me say before. I mean, I've said this about Sidney Crosby is, Crosby's a superstar that plays like a third liner. Yep. And, he goes, as Gully said, he goes to the middle of the ice and he drives to the net, and we've seen him, use his size, his physicality, and I can keep going back. I mean, I'm impressed with how he's. I mean, again, from visually, it looks like he's taking charge of the team. And again, nothing against Jamie. Well, while Jamie's out, and I don't think he's going to back off from any of that. But I think that for a new guy coming in, and we've seen a couple clips of when it's a power play, and he's holding court, like he's telling guys where to be and what to do and where to go. And so it's nice to see that he's come in, and I'm sure Jamie and the rest of the captains appreciate that. Get somebody else that can get another voice in here, and he's a guy that can back up whatever he's saying. He's been able to back it up. I don't know what he's been saying, but he's been backing it up.
Sam, I was going to go to you about line combos, but we have to hit our ad break. So let's do that and then come back. We'll talk about where they're going to play and much more. Stars and Kraken pregame show here on DLLS.
Well, I don't know if you've heard, but there is a face-off collection that we've been promoting here quite a while, and apparently it's going to be you're running out of time because these shirts can be sold out, and so we still have the green and the black ones. Or is that still it? Or if we throw, yeah, oh yeah, we still have the green and the black, and the ones we've got the 3 stars. And thank God we figured out what the scoop is with the stars on there. Now everybody knows what they're for and what they're supposed to be,
and so, where they're located on the body.
Listen, these things, anywhere the collection and all this kind of the merchandise is what 30 to 90% off or somewhere in there. That's what the scoop is. Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. There, see, I'm right on top of it, right up to 90%. All right, but we have to pull out 2 shirts, Ryan. I hope you got your finger on the button over here. We got to get the Jamie Benn shirt out. He hit 400, so there you go. Let's get the captain out there. And with the return, I think it's only appropriate to get the Moose up here. And as Gully was talking, you guys were talking, I got a feeling the Moose will be flying around like a gazelle tonight. So he is not going to be tromping through the mud. And I'm thinking he is going to pick up right where he left off, and he will be finishing on a few plays.
Thanks, lads. And you also can join the Supporters Club, because if you didn't catch what chaos can go on during watch-alongs, post-game shows, and everything else during our 8-hour marathon last night, being in the Supporters Club helps you get your chats read. It pops. You can see it with the exclusive emojis. And as Harry likes to say, those stinking badges. You get an exclusive badge. Your name can pop out, and you can use all kinds of crazy emojis, including a Craig Ludwig one, which is so far my favorite. But the more people that join, the more emojis we get. On top of all that, you also get behind the scenes videos. We do some pretty ridiculous ones, if you can imagine us being ridiculous. We do some pretty funny ones. And while I'm saying this, Sports Guy TO once again gifts 5 YouTube Supporters Club memberships. As we're sitting here, they are going to start being picked up. So thanks again, TO. Join the Supporters Club now.
Hey, Owen, didn't we think that Sam was the MVP last night? I mean, he took over when it came to the chat.
No doubt. Sam,
I didn't have a choice,
You gave us a reprieve that we definitely needed. So that was fantastic. Sam, let's talk about lines, because it's your favorite subject. So let's still look at the forward group. I actually guessed this, but Mike Heika just tweeted out in the warm-ups in Seattle, this is what they're going to do. Any surprise at all that it's Steele moving down for Jamie Benn?
No, I think I would wonder whether it would be Steele just at the start. We've seen Steele jump up with that line at the beginning, and then within probably 3 or 4 shifts, Benn jumps up with him. But I think maybe that was to ease Benn in, make sure they're not overloading him early on. He's only played it, 4 or whatever, 5 games since he's been back. I think now is the time to see it. Benn and Wyatt had that chemistry, not just last night, but previously, right? He's been with Wyatt Johnston and a ton of different line combinations with a bunch of different right wings and had a lot of success. How about Mikko Rantanen in that right wing spot? If all the fans asking all summer to finally get Wyatt Johnston some help and free Wyatt Johnston, he's now playing with Mikko Rantanen on his right side. So I think that should help out. I think it's the best way to go. They've found lines here, right? The Robertson, Hintz, Sagan line has looked really good. The Quebec line is back together. I think they have something here with these trios, and I really like it.
I don't think, Sean, it's probably worth taking the time to debate who comes out when Matt Duchene is ready to play, which could be as early as Friday. We don't know, because we don't know what's going to happen as far as health of the team between now and Friday, right? Is that there's probably, if you're in the front office, you probably have a plan A, and then you have a plan B and a plan C, because just when it looks like somebody's getting healthy, somebody else gets out of the lineup. And with the games coming fast and furious, it's probably not worth spending a lot of time saying, Justin Roscovian is, as Lud said, has earned a spot above a few others in the pecking order, but he may still end up in the AHL because of cap situation and waivers and all that fun stuff. But who knows what's going to happen by the time Duchene's ready.
Yeah, it's the reason the don't count your chickens before they hatch is one of the oldest cliches in the world, right? Like, you have, and this team is a perfect example of, once there's a cycle of injuries, right? When somebody gets healthy, someone has gotten hurt. And so obviously this team will be a better offensive team when Matt Duchene is back. We can say that, but no, but let's just say, we can say Matt Duchene will come back to the line. Yeah. Matt Duchene will come back in the lineup. I think right now, trying to predict who comes out before A, they play a game tonight, B, how other things all shake out. It becomes a bit taken away from the moment of they're about to play Seattle and they're getting a fresh Mikko Rantanen after they won 8-3 against Edmonton last night. Like I think it's getting Matt Duchene back will be a great boost for this team when it happens. But until it happens, I'm not really going to worry about it.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of things. First, Jamie Benn scored his 400th career NHL goal last night. And if you look at the list of franchise goal leaders, Luds, you played with a couple of these guys. At least you played with Modano. I don't know if you crossed over with Bellows or Cicerelli, but that is very, very elite company in Dallas Stars franchise history.
Yeah, I did. I played with BB. I think he was in the process of getting that new little hat on his head at the time. But you know what? Obviously playing with Mo is special, and Brian Bellows was a character himself. And but it's a list, man. It's a big list there. And Sean, you threw last night late. You threw a comparable. Was it Jonathan Toews? And when we were talking about at the end of the show last night, we were talking about is Jamie Benn another guy I thought of, but I didn't realize that I thought of Shane Doan. But then Doan had played a couple, almost 200 games more than him. But the points, 402 goals, Doan finished with, and again, he's not a Hall of Famer either. But I'm just saying that we were throwing guys around who Jamie would be comparable. I just think he needs. I don't know if he needs the cup. I think the cup may be the thing that pushes him over the edge, possibly because you were right on. I mean, Jonathan Toews has got similar numbers and everything else, but he's got 3 rings, and that makes a difference. Yeah. And some other hardware.
Yeah, and to kind of like just to give the people at home, just because this was I think this was an off-board conversation we had in our group text about this, but like Jamie Benn and Jonathan Toews both played 17 seasons in the NHL. Jamie Benn has 400 goals, 559 assists, 959 career points, 0.80 points per game. Jonathan Toews, 375 goals, 516 assists, 891 points, 0.82 points per game. Like if you compare those two side by side, the only difference, obviously, the only thing that Jonathan Toews has that Jamie Benn doesn't have is obviously 3 Stanley Cup rings, which is big. But like
kind of a big thing.
But like when you talk about resume and you talk about perception and everything like that, that's Jamie's in that territory. It's the whole, it's perception makes reality. And that's why I think with Jamie, it comes down to, you got to get the one, right? You got to get the one, then everyone else kind of sees what we're talking about.
Let's talk about Jason Robertson for a minute, Sam, because he has now a team record 7-game goal streak, but it's not the franchise record. He tied for second. Neil Broughton, Dave Gagne, and now Jason Robertson with 7. But Luds' old teammate Brian Bellows had a 10-game goal streak back in the 89-90 season. So he has to score in 4 more consecutive games to set a new franchise record. Jason Robertson has to not score a goal in 1 game at some point, right, Sam?
Yeah, but I thought that last night too. And I know it was 8-3. So, it's an easier to get a goal when you have 8 of them. But I just can't believe the turnarounds he has. And we've said this multiple times, but it just blows my mind how he can go from looking like, man, this guy is never going to score another goal in the NHL to, oh, he's got the puck, he's probably going to score here. And he just does it so easily now when he's confident. Lud's talked about how he doesn't even have to look at the net anymore. He's just making these quick plays. And the goal last night showed me that he's fully back, because now he's scoring every way, right? He scored on rebounds. He scored on those shots curling from the slot. He scored on the power play. Now he's crashing the back door. Luckily, Evan Bouchard was the one playing defense in that play, so it allowed him to get that puck nice and clean to the back door. But he's doing it every way. I think he gets that record. I don't know if he breaks it, but I believe he ties it at least in the next 3 games.
Hey, that list, by the way, I looked at that list as you guys were talking, and I went, I actually did. I feel now that I did play with all of those guys on that last list.
So you played with Dino as well?
Yeah. Well, no, what I'm saying is when you had BB up there, who'd you have up there? You didn't have
it was you're talking about the other list.
No, the other one.
The one with Dave Gagne and
the goals.
The goal freaks.
I played with Gags, played with Brodsky, played with Bellows, and after this afternoon, I do believe I played with Jason Robertson double. Because I was calling him Robo. I mean, after the first shift, I was playing against this guy, and I swear to God, they're twins. So he didn't quite have the same hands, and he did not. But
So he wasn't the doppelganger with the offensive style.
Yes. So I feel like I played with everybody on that list.
I thought Luds was going to somehow try to twist us into that he played with Tyler Seguin, and I was ready for that story.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
It was coming in.
Not yet. Sagan's got a few more years before he turns to the alumni team.
Yeah.
Sean, let's talk about goalies real quick. Casey DeSmith versus Joey Daccord tonight, as a couple of American goalies go head-to-head. But when you look at the career versus the opponent, Casey DeSmith has owned the Kraken. Joey Daccord and the Kraken have had trouble with the Dallas Stars.
Well, and I think Joey Daccord, first, just on the Kraken front, it's Joey Daccord's career kind of has to be split into two. And I haven't looked at the breakdown of when these games did and didn't happen for Joey Daccord's career versus Seattle, but for first Dallas. But Joey Daccord's career story is one of the rise is one of the more. It's one of the better stories in the NHL over the past 2 to 3 years. And so he's one of the guys where if we're looking at the other end of the ice tonight, where we all know it's going to be Jake and Connor Hellebuck for Team USA. We also have a feeling it's probably going to be Jeremy Swayman or Thatcher Demko. But if there's any faltering or injuring or anything like that, you're looking at the guy who might be pushing in to be part of Team USA and what Joey Daccord has done and has really solidified.
And we might get Scott Wedgwood for Team Canada.
I know.
Wild.
That would be. I would be happy for him.
Just
happy for him.
Just for the room, they should bring him. He should be the third goalie no matter what.
He was actually making the pitch the other day that he knows what it's like to be a backup, so he'd be a perfect backup for Team Canada.
That's pretty good. But so Daccord's really solidified what was a rough goalie situation in Seattle when they made some bets on some other guys that haven't panned out. And then for Casey, right, past couple times, we want him to keep having these performances that allow Jake to get better rested and everything like that. And this is the game you sign up for as a backup goalie. You sign up for the second game of back-to-back. You know you're going to face the tough challenge, and he gets all of that. And I don't know. It's kind of the whole like player comfort level thing. I think some goalies, the career numbers against an opponent matter, right? For other guys, I think it's just can be a coincidence. And Sam, I don't know. You know Casey better than I do, and so I don't know if for Casey he believes one way or the other on that, but it doesn't hurt with the past success there.
Yeah, I'll say he remembers it. I don't think he cares a whole lot, but he does know which teams he plays well against. Sean, I was just going to say, how about this goaltending in general for Seattle? I think they have all three of the goalies that have played for them are in the top 20 save percentage. They're third in goals against. They're number 1 5-on-5v5 goals against. And the funny part of it is that side is elite, right? They can hold teams, but they can't score goals. So they can't win as many games as they want to. If they can find a way to put a couple extra pucks in, look out.
Well, they're going to get Jared McCann back tonight. He was activated from IR. And if you listen to his teammate Vince Dunn, who Luds is a big fan of, here's what Vince Dunn said about getting McCann back in their lineup.
Well, I think just his shooting capability is something that we've definitely been missing. We've talked a lot about that. We're not shooting pucks enough, and I think that's a guy who doesn't look to pass first, and it's great. It's always worked for him, and he's put up a lot of goals here for our team and creates a lot of chances and draws a lot of people to him when he has the puck. People want to take time and space away from him, so other guys open up, and he's sure able to make plays as well. So we've missed him a lot, and we've been dealing with a lot of injuries this year, so it's been really unfortunate to have certain pieces missing. But overall, I think just the way our team's playing and the way guys have stepped up has been pretty important for us, and to have him back tonight is just going to make us that much better.
So if you're a team that's struggling for shot volume, they rank dead last in shots per 60, averaging 24.1 shots per game, and they're 29th in goals per game at 2.59. Luds, if you have a shot first player, that can help.
Yeah, and they're in your favorite stat. They're 5-on-5. They're at the bottom of the league when it comes to high danger chances. So, I think the Eberle and Schwartz have been kind of. Jaden Schwartz has gotten off to a great start there, and so I think he's getting McCann back in and as a shooter. The other place they're very poor is with rebound opportunities. So I think when you got a guy that is a shooter, very similar to playing with Robo or Besser and those kind of guys. I mean, I think guys that play with those kind of players, I know they're shoot first guys, and so you kind of gravitate to the net a little more easily and often because you just plan on those pucks going to the net, and so that's probably what they're looking for. And they're going to need some more chances because they're not a real solid team when it comes to the offense 5-on-5 stuff.
Well, I have so much more to get to that we're not going to have time for, which is the whole point. You want to have more than less. But here's done on the first game, November 9th, which the Stars won 2-1 over the Kraken.
That was a tough game to lose, honestly. We look back and we played so well. Both teams played so well. The goalies played so well. So it was just a battle of opportunities, and they were able to capitalize on theirs and we weren't. So I think just going in with the same mindset, I think stepping away from that game, you can look at a lot of areas that you can fix, but you can also take a lot of positives away from it. And we'll try not to overcomplicate things tonight and just bring a positive energy. So I think just sustaining pressure in the offensive zone, we've talked a lot about it, is not pulling back and not letting teams come back at us when we work so hard to defend and getting into their zone. So we'll try to manage the puck a little better there in the offensive zone and create more traffic.
How about that, Sam? You know, this team is 4-1-2 in their last 7, Seattle. They're second in the Pacific Division. And for my money, they're punching way above where I thought they'd be right now. And our prediction this season, I had them not making the playoffs. They're in a pretty good spot for a team that can't score a lot.
Yeah, that's the key, right? That's what I was just saying about for Sean, is that they're punching there because of the way they're defending, because of the way their goalies are playing. I don't know if it's going to be a goalies and defense are eventually going to fall off and they're going to come down to earth, or if the offense is going to meet them either halfway or where they're going to be. But it's pretty interesting to see when teams are this far on one end, right? They're not balanced. They're not struggling a little bit here and there. They are complete polar opposites, offense and defense. So I'm curious to see which one of those evens out.
I will say this too. This is a team, and it's the way you beat them tonight. And just I'm interested for everyone to watch this. If you're watching this game tonight, because I watched Seattle play Detroit in person a week and a half ago or whatever it was, and the way you beat Seattle is you beat them with your forecheck. They score more for their defense. They move the puck with their defenders more than almost any team in the league because they have to. And it's not one guy. It's the entire group. Everyone gets up into the play. And Joey Daccord loves to play the puck. He loves to push that. I watched the Seattle team lose to Detroit a week and a half ago because of how well Detroit forechecked. So if you're Dallas, and it's one of the reasons Nathan Bastian's probably still in tonight, not just for the goals. You talk about the forechecking. If you're Dallas tonight and you look at the way Seattle wants to get up and going, you take the right routes, you play smart, you win the battle on the forecheck, and you take away so much of what they do offensively, and then it starts to frustrate them. That's the formula for beating Seattle, and that's something I'm interested to watch tonight.
And Luds, if you play a goalie on the other side who loves to get out of his crease and play the puck, what do you have to do to try to mitigate that?
Well, you got to put pucks in the right area of the ice. You know, you want to take the goaltender out of the equation. So, like I've said before, for me, the hardest puck, I believe, for a defenseman to recover is the one that soft little chip behind him. You know, and if you're going to dump it in, you try to get it past the goaltender so it gets to the other side. So I'm sure that those are a lot of things, for all the reasons that Sean talked about. That's going to be part of the conversation is, you know, here's part of what we got to do is keep it again. They really, that goes into every game. I mean, you're really, the goaltenders nowadays are, you know, so good at playing the pucks in general. So you're always trying to keep it away from them.
All right, guys. Well, we're way over time, so we're going to pause here. And thankfully, we have a break.
Thank our people who watched us on the YouTube.
Yeah, thank you for watching our pregame show. Thank you for watching our watch along. We're not doing that tonight. Maybe we'll do it again. I'm sure we'll be asked to do it again. But we're thrilled to get ready to watch this game with you and do a post-game show afterwards. So for Sean, for Luds, for Sam, and Ryan, I'm Owen. We'll be back for the post-game show here on DLLS.
Believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight.